Hey everyone, we're Hot Love Studios. We are an eclectic firm dedicated to creating contextual and impactful interventions that benefit the communities that exist around them. Our team consists of Adi, Bilali, and Kirsty, and together let us explore design development of Trafalgar Park. Phase 1 of our presentation concerns itself with design as research and research as design. It looks at analysis, considerations, inquiries, theories, and strategies seen through party diagrams and symbolisms to explain how we go from this to that.
Trafalgar Park is located in Cape Town, in the Woodstock district. It is governed by two main bodies, the Sports Institute governing the pool and the Park Institute governing the park. Our group's main inquiry into the park begins with a question: why has Trafalgar Park lost its magic?
On the physical scale of form, Trafalgar Park closes itself both internally and externally through high-rise fences, a lack of formalized entrances, and pathfinding tools, and a lack of integration with the newer fabric surrounding it. This results in a hostile and sterile outer edge of the park. This challenge presents us with an inquiry opportunity: how to create positive boundaries and edges, ones that separate for security and define a better spatial experience of being held.
Zoning maps of the urban fabric reveal that the newer fabric reflects a disinterest through hostile edges of the park, unlike the older fabric. It reveals an issue of disconnect between the fabrics, one that our park intervention hopes to unite. This presents us with an inquiry opportunity. How do we unite the newer and the older fabric to ensure better park performance through an integrated community?
Use-derived analysis shows us that the northern half of the site is more appealing to the people than towards the southern half of the site. This presents us with an inquiry opportunity. How can the park fold existing activities into the park?
Zooming into urban structures and activity around the park, a pebble map was deployed to interrogate different realms of influence. These realms provided us with insight into the best positions for site interventions and objects. From this investigation, we observed that the main road is bustling with public transport and activity. Commercial spaces open to the street whilst mixed residential units sit above. We would like to capitalize on the food and vehicular traffic in this area by creating a permanent structure such as a commercial stop for passerbys to be absorbed into the park, thus bringing investment. Searle Street is the least active edge. This is mainly due to the hostile edges. The historical section of the site is also underutilized and a forgotten element. This serves as a blank canvas and opportunity for a major intervention at the center. The south side of the site has an innate liveliness due to its interaction with the surrounding residential spaces. The park acts as a hangout spot for locals and a place for lunch break for the employed. There is a spot that serves a large variety of people, and local traders have set up stands around here. These inquiries answered where the best spaces for interventions are.
Geographically, the ocean, Lower Woodstock, and railway line lie to the north, whilst towards the south are the highway and the Table Mountain. This provides us with views going in the south and the north direction. Afternoon direct summer sun comes down steeply, whilst the winter sun sinks low behind other buildings and landscaping. Strong summer winds fly down from the mountain, whilst winter winds and rains snake in from the ocean, begging for solid enclosures on the site. This presents us with an inquiry opportunity. Can we create enclosures that hold inhabitants should rain fall? Can we create spaces so that the park performance is still high on windy days?
Investigations from the mid-2010s reveal the populace of Woodstock in public participation Woodstock and workshops are eager for more spaces for sport, play, cultural events, and artifacts to engage with. They also expressed interest in market areas, more play, and culture facilities. As a team, this was vital to us and helped propel us towards an understanding of our interventions program. This presents us with the answer to how can we deliver a park that's wanted. This is through public participation that can be folded within our brief to heighten park performance by servicing the people who use it better.
Zooming out, we investigated used and unused spaces around Trafalgar Park. In this investigation, we saw green buffer spaces that have been left vacant and hostile in the urban environment. Other unused spaces were abandoned and derelict buildings on the southern edge. This presents us with an inquiry opportunity. Can we fold unused spaces within our project, thus reforming dead zones around Woodstock and extending a positive urban reach of our park intervention?
Zooming out of Woodstock, we took a look at how Trafalgar Park forms part of a greater network of nodal interests. These spaces, mostly considered successful destinations, led us to borrow their form language, such as interfaces, edges, and thresholds, as well as densify the park with network activities. This presents us with an inquiry opportunity. Can Trafalgar Park become a destination in the minds of the greater Cape Town populace? If it does, its performance, use, and cultural significance would be greatly increased.
Our analysis presented us with challenges that we synthesized into design inquiries of performance. These are summarized below as icons. After analysis and brief interrogation, we synthesized our intentions going forward would be reclaiming place, people, and culture. This was then brought into theoretical understanding through the interconnected ideas of placemaking, public participation, and socio-political relationship of culture and historical heritage.
Reclaim through placemaking, but the sense of place in Trafalgar Park is hostile. We explored this through the writings of Dewar's 2019 Spatial Justice and Urban Design.
Reclaim the people through public participation, but the people are fragmented around Trafalgar Park. We explored this through the writings of Maka Kavukle 2020 towards deliberative democracy through the democratic governance.
Reclaim the culture, but the current culture of Trafalgar Park is contested. We explored this through the writings of McCann's Race, Protest, and Public Space, contextualizing Lefebvre.
Our inquiries into theoretical research yielded answers for motivating design attitudes and strategies. Through Dewar, we aim to positively charge the geography by urban regeneration through the principles of spatial justice that connect rather than separate groups of people. Through Makavutle, we aim to encourage public participation to foster a sense of ownership. This will be done through design decisions that cater for the needs expressed in the public survey. Through McCann, we unpack the controversies of historical importance in making of unjust spaces. Through this ideology, we will attempt to subvert the existing artifacts that contest the space, creating a new perspective that encourages connection between groups of people and not separation.
Inquiry becomes an important tool of investigation. Analysis questions yielded observations, not answers, and these observations created further inquiries. This process of inquiry became our research to stimulate an imagination of the park. Being informed by the theoretical and analytical inquiries, our design attitude was turned to a common element that created hostility within the site, the edges. Our intention was to subvert these edges from boundaries that separate to ones that connect the urban fabric, the people, and the park together. For us, edges become gateways for human connection, and these gateways could be expressed through liminality, ontological assemblages, permanence, and memory pre-science. The edge inquiries are strategized through 4 major moves on the site: satellite activity placement, new pathing and thresholds, wall subversion, and structure placement.
Through our research, it became strikingly clear how important densifying activity within the park was. Through this inquiry, activity became an edge that brought people together and activated space. As Pritzker Prize winner Philip Johnson notes, all architecture is shelter, but all great architecture is design of space that contains, cuddles, exalts, or stimulates the person in that space. As a spatial strategy, we tested out a range of activities against our analysis of what the people want with the current culture of the park. This led us to a tartan grid of activity satellites that orbit and edged different spaces within the park.
Another issue was pathfinding through the park. Activity as an edge and formalized entrances enabled the public to identify different gateways and navigation through the geography. We aimed to have a sinuous path that reached out to these activity satellites, whilst also inherently generating elements of wayfinding, clarity, and spatial experience.
The existing boundaries and fences are too hostile. Thus, we will attempt to soften them as an edge by making them a community garden and a transit hub. Through this endeavor, generative activity is created that seeks to unite different groups of all around the urban fabric in this increasingly densified, globalized world.
In lieu of placemaking, we wanted to establish clear structures that articulate and hold the space. Following our intention of edges, these structures have to become an edge form, acting as guardians of the park. We tested this out through interrogations of intervention pavilions on the site. From our analysis and experiences of the park, three major interventions were needed. The southern and northern edge would host a structure assemblage capable of reactive processes of self-correction and multifunctional imaginings, whilst a landmark institution would be grounding enclosure at the center of the park, acting as a thickened edge of activity.
By dissolving and softening and reclaiming, reshuffling and reusing the spaces within the park, we want to create activities that vest the community as interested, accountable stakeholders, and thus reclaiming the magic of human connection through spatial edge activations.